Hi, Jacob Wade here, back with another Lunch Money tutorial. Today, we're going to talk all about rollovers in the Lunch Money budget section. Now, a rollover is basically telling your budget what to do with the extra funds or overspent funds in a specific budget category or just in your budget overall. So there's a couple of ways to go about this. Let me just show you how it works. So I've got an example budget here of December 2025. And first things first, we're going to talk about general pool rollovers. Now, the general pool, think of it as a big jar of money. It's where your paychecks go into, it's any extra funds. That is what you can choose to spend out of, right? So that's what allows you to budget off of. Here's my general pool of money. Right now, the way the budget's set up, you can see we have about $10.57 that was not spent in December. So we didn't budget this amount, it's left over. But when I go over to January, that 10.57 cents, it just goes away. It's gone. So what actually happens in real life is that money is sitting in your checking account. So you either pull it out of your checking account, put it into savings, invest in something else, or it just sits there, which is common. Now, that money is no longer available in your budget, but if you want it to show up, you want it to roll over from December into January, we need to set up a rollover. So if I go back over here to December and I go to the budget settings tab here in the upper right, you'll see this general pool rollover settings. So we can turn on to roll over any left to budget amounts or over budgeted, right? If you overspend, it'll actually take away from your general pool, but you can turn this on. And it says there's an adjustment here. If you hit the edit button, you can reset your balance. Maybe you want it to match your current balance, or you just want to set it to zero and say, okay, starting on December 1, we're going to start rolling funds over month to month. So you just hit add adjustment here, or you can leave it there. It'll auto add if you don't want to make any adjustments to the actual number, and just hit save changes. So now you'll see rollovers. There's a starting balance. That was our balance adjustment right there. And this left to budget, $1,057.06. If you go to the following month, as long as we don't allocate it anywhere else, there it is. Now it says the left to budget amount from last period is now available this period. What's cool about that is just think of it as money sitting in your checking account. Then you add in expected paychecks, another $6,000 coming in, and you have this much available. $7,057.06 is now available to budget. Which again, this is how it works in real life. So you can roll over your money, it sits in your account, it's all allocated and accounted for here, and you can start budgeting based on this number. So that's called the general pool rollover. Now you can also roll over numbers from one category to the following month into that exact same category. And this is kind of cool for specific categories where you just want the funds to sort of accumulate, right? You can create little savings buckets if you want to for certain categories. So you can go down to, let's say, the Christmas category, and you're going to start putting aside $100 a month in your budget for Christmas, but you want it to roll to the following month. So I've got $100 allocated here, and if I go over here, and this is actually really important, if you see this thing that says, hey, you can't turn on rollovers, it means you have category group budgeting enabled. So you can just click this button, it'll disable that. So now you can individually roll over one category to another instead of at the category group level. But let's turn this on. Let's go to the Christmas budget category, and we're going to go over to roll over to same category next period under the rollover options here. When I turn this on, again, it asks you what's the current balance of your Christmas fund. You know, for me, it's reset balance to zero. Let's start at zero starting today, and we're going to start saving up for next year. So I'm going to hit add adjustment, save changes. So now what's going to happen, you just see this little envelope pop up, which is super handy. It's just showing, hey, we're sort of enveloping these couple of categories, right? So now Christmas has an envelope here, and we've put $100 aside. Now, if I go to January, you'll see that $100 is there, plus anything else we allocate. So now I'm putting another $100 into this, but the total available balance is $200. So $100 from last period, $100 this period. You can see you could start to stack in specific categories. But I will say this also happens if you overspend, right? So if I go back to December and I got a little wild and I spent $200 on subscriptions and entertainment instead of $150, which is what I budgeted. Now, subscriptions and entertainment is one of those categories I want to roll over month to month. And if I overspend this month, that means I got to spend less month to make up for it. So I'm going to go in here and turn on a rollover again, roll over to the same category next period. It resets to $0 starting right now. I'm going to hit save changes. And so now what's going to happen is this -50 will carry over to January. It's going to take away from my available amount. And so now I go to subscriptions and entertainment. It looks like I overspent again. But let's say I budgeted the amount I spent, $500. So that -50 is carrying over. I got to make up for it. So instead of budgeting 500, I'm going to budget 550 here. And so now that gets me the right amount, right? So because the -50 is coming over from last month. So whether it's a positive number or a negative number, category individual rollovers are going to carry that forward. Okay, and finally, you can roll over individual categories into that general pool. So maybe you've got a category where if you don't spend the money, you just want to have it available in the general pool of money. It doesn't need to stack up in its own category month over month over month. So let's just pick a category here. Let's call it the insurance category. So maybe you don't pay your insurance every month. Maybe it's every 6 months, but you've already got that money set aside, or you just want to cash flow it. So maybe this $250, if you don't spend it this month, you just want it to dump into that general pool. So you can go here and click the rollover options and hit rollover to general pool next period. Again, you can edit and do a edited starting date. When do I want this to start? But it's going to start from the beginning of the month or the period that you were in by default, and then just hit save changes. So now this $250 from insurance that I did not have any transactions on, didn't spend any money on, when I go to the following month, it's actually going to add to my general pool. So it's going to be part of that rollover. So if I hover over this number, you see we've got $10.57 left to budget, plus the $250 from insurance. So total, I have $1307.06 extra from last month that is rolled forward. So those are really the 3 kinds of rollovers that you can do inside the Lunch Money app, and a couple of reasons for why you would want to do them.